This happened during my final year of high school, a time when I thought I had everything figured out. Looking back, I didn't. I wasn't a terrible kid, but when it came to my family, I had this constant attitude, especially toward my little brother, Jake, who was 8 years younger than me. At that age gap, we barely had anything in common. Every summer, my family would plan some kind of coastal trip. We lived close enough to the ocean to make it an easy drive. But that year, they picked somewhere different. Maine. Quiet, remote, and surrounded by endless trees. At 18, I thought it sounded painfully boring. When we arrived, though, I had to admit, the place was impressive. The house was massive, tucked deep into the woods, painted white with dark green shutters. Looked like something straight out of a horror novel. My dad even joked about it, which didn't exactly help the mood. Inside, the layout was strange. Hallways twisted into each other in ways that didn't make sense. Rooms were placed oddly, like someone designed it without ever planning to live there. But the strangest part? There was a second house attached to it. That's where the owner lived. His name was Hugh. He greeted us when we arrived, tall, loud, and oddly cheerful. He wore a stained bucket hat and had a kind of unsettling energy. Not threatening, just off. He kept repeating how friendly people in Maine were, smiling a little too much. He told us we probably wouldn't see him all week. That didn't make it better. The next morning, my parents planned a hike. I refused to go. Truth is, I had just started talking to a girl back home, and I didn't want to lose signal in the woods. So I stayed behind while they left. That's when I started exploring the house more closely. At the end of one hallway was a door, the one that connected directly to Hugh's side of the house. I joked about it on a video call, then tried the handle, expecting it to be locked. It wasn't. Curiosity got the better of me, and I stepped inside. It looked normal. Too normal. A couch, a TV, nothing unusual. But then I heard something. A door shutting somewhere deeper inside. I didn't stick around to investigate. I ran back, shut the door, and within minutes, there was a knock. Hugh stood there smiling, asking why I was filming inside his home. He told me something that stuck with me. He had cameras, and he saw everything. That's when I realized something. That door wasn't just unlocked. It had never really been closed at all, and that would matter a lot more later that night. After that awkward encounter, I made sure the connecting door was secured. I even dragged a heavy chair in front of it, just in case. Maybe I was overreacting, but something about Hugh and that house didn't sit right with me. When my family got back, I told them what happened. Instead of being concerned, they were more upset that I had gone into Hugh's space. They weren't wrong, but I didn't care. I was already on edge. That night, they went out for dinner. I stayed behind. At first, everything felt normal. I was sitting on the couch, texting, trying to forget the weirdness of the day. Outside, it had gone completely dark. Not city dark, real darkness. The kind where you can't see anything beyond the windows. Then I heard it. A loud crash. It came from down the hallway. My stomach dropped immediately. I already knew what it might be. The chair. I slowly walked toward the hallway, heart pounding. It was too dark to see anything, so I flipped on the light. The chair was on the floor, and next to it was a backpack. Not mine. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to get out of there. I didn't stop to think. I ran to the screened porch, locked myself in, and crouched down behind a table. That's when I heard footsteps. Not rushing, not chaotic, just walking. Inside the house, I had left my phone behind. I had no way to call anyone, no way to know who or what was moving around in there. Minutes felt like hours. Then finally, I saw headlights pulling into the driveway. My family. I bolted outside, yelling for them to stay in the car. I could barely explain what was happening. I didn't even fully understand it myself. Then Hugh appeared. But this time, he wasn't smiling. He looked terrified. He pulled my dad aside and spoke quietly. I tried to listen, but couldn't hear everything. All I caught was the tone, and it was enough. We didn't go back inside. We drove straight to a nearby parking lot, and within minutes, police cars sped past us toward the house. That's when my dad finally told us what Hugh had seen. And it made everything I experienced feel even worse, because I hadn't been alone in that house. Something had already been inside, long before I heard that crash. Sitting in that empty parking lot, my dad explained everything Hugh had told him. After hearing the crash, Hugh checked his security cameras. At first, he thought it was me again, messing around near the connecting door. But when he reviewed the footage, something didn't add up. The hallway camera showed the chair falling over. Then, nothing. For a moment. And just as he was about to stop watching, someone stepped into view. A tall man. Bald. Definitely not me. Definitely not my dad. The man came out of the bedroom I had been staying in. My bedroom. He calmly picked up the backpack and went back inside. That was it. No rush. No panic. Just quiet movement, like he belonged there. Hugh didn't try to confront him. Instead, he went outside and watched the house from a distance, waiting. He knew if he entered the wrong way, it could make things worse, especially if I was still inside. He had no idea I had already locked myself out on the porch. When my family arrived, he immediately warned my dad, and that's why we left so quickly. The police searched the area that night. They even chased someone into the woods, but never caught him. No identity, no explanation, nothing. We didn't go back to that house. Hugh packed our things and brought them to us. We stayed at a hotel that night and drove home the next morning. Months later, my dad followed up. They never found the man. They didn't even figure out how he got inside. No forced entry, no broken windows, nothing. Just someone appearing and disappearing inside a house in the middle of nowhere. For a long time, I told myself it was probably just someone looking for shelter. Maybe a drifter. Maybe harmless. But the truth is, I'll never really know. Because the scariest part of that entire experience wasn't what I saw. It was what I didn't. The quiet footsteps, the unseen presence, the realization that someone could be so close without you ever noticing. And sometimes that's the most terrifying thing of all, because you never know who might already be inside.